What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype, episode 392 on the road to 400, on the road to Fanatics Fest, on the road to the National. It's a great time of year, guys. We're going to talk about a big debut in baseball. Jac Caglianone gets called up. We're going to talk about his Bowman cards and also compare him to the last 4 or 5 years of Bowman prospects and how their prices have done. We've got that. We got some NBA Finals talk. We've got Walmart's breaking cards now. There's Walmart Live. We've got new releases like 2025 Sterling, Impeccable Soccer, Cup Hockey, and more. And if you guys want to save big on finals breaks, on basketball breaks, use promo code FINALS10 for 10% off basketball breaks this week at Mojobreak.com. We will be posting the brand new 24-25 Topps Chrome basketball, which is coming out in a few weeks as well, which you can get your Stephon Castle autos, lots of great stuff in Topps Chrome, and any basketball break that we have currently on the site, like Revolution. So should be a good time to use that code, guys, and get ready for this Thunder Pacers finals, which is kind of boring to say.
I think I called it.
It's kind of boring to say.
I think I called it a couple of weeks ago.
You did, Dan. You did.
I did. And I also called that this series was going to go 7, and the Pacers are going to win.
Pacers over Thunder. Is what
Pacers over Thunder.
I mean, I feel like I should.
Are you on that C-Buzz bet too?
No, but I called that again. Go back on the tape.
Yeah,
I called it before.
That's
I said
true.
it was.
That's true.
It's going to be. It's going to be a great. It's going to be a great series. I watched that whole Knicks Pacers game 6, and the Knicks just couldn't figure it out. Karl Anthony Towns really needed to show up. Did not show up.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem with the Knicks is that Brunson and Towns are horrible at defense, and you need to have, you can't just score and not play defense. So
It's funny. Their starting lineup has the Ewing effect, where actually their starting lineup, I think their point differential is worse than when they have their bench, or like a mix of that, like Brunson with somebody from the bench or whatever it might be. Like they actually perform better when that's the case. So there was so much hype for them going into that the Eastern Conference Finals, but like going into the playoffs, I think so many Knicks fans were like, I don't know, second round maybe. Like this is it's a good team, but it's a weird team, and it's not like a great team. So Pacers, they're in.
I think it's going to be a great series though.
Yeah,
and I think those teams match up well against each other. I think
they do.
The Pacers are a little bit more deep when it comes to the bench depth.
I think, though, the NBA is like ready to anoint the Thunder and this young crew. They are ready.
I don't think it's going to happen yet, though.
To say you are the new one. You're the next big thing in the NBA. I've already seen some stuff thrown, notifications on my phone of like the Oklahoma City Warriors. Oh, could they be? Like, okay, slow your roll, first of all. But they're ready to say, Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams, you're the next homegrown crew, homegrown trio, sort of homegrown. Shea's not quite, but, he's basically been there his whole career. So I think that's what the NBA certainly wants. But the Pacers have definitely been kind of like sticking it to the NBA and all their narratives all postseason long.
And one thing for sure, we're going to have a team that's a fan base that's never gotten a title. So
that's true. That's always cool.
Either way it shakes out, somebody's going to be first time experiencing,
both
the
teams
glory.
have been to the finals, though.
Both teams have been to the finals. Well, now, I know if we have Seattle listeners, they're going, wait.
Yeah, right.
Technically, there's one. There's technically one, yes, when they were still the Seattle Supersonics.
I think it was like 79 or 78.
It's been a while.
Like that.
So,
yeah.
Seattle fans, we see you. We're sorry.
Well, Fred Brown days.
Yeah, we're sorry this is happening. So, but it's also, there's like two things that stuck out. One, it's the Paul George series. Both of these teams traded Paul George and basically built back up, and now here they are. And meanwhile, Paul George has not made it to, I don't know what's the furthest he's ever made it, a Western Conference final, a conference final.
Future warrior,
Paul George.
Well, dude, there's like 3 guys in the league that I think or maybe even 4 that I think they'll never win a championship, and they're getting older. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George.
Yep.
And you can throw another one of those type of players in there.
2/3, all 3 of those guys were former Thunder players.
Two
of them were part of the Kevin Durant Thunder team.
It's like they just fall apart somehow in the play. They have great seasons. They have great teams they're on, and they just never get it done.
Well, KD knew where to hitch his wagon to be like, all right, I'm not messing around. I gotta get one of these.
He could have been one of them, but
he
went to the right team.
Yeah, but it's also the timing of the finals, and if you saw that Tyrese Halliburton, the Black Prism PSA 9, sold for, I believe, just under $120,000 this week. It's just smashing a record for Tyrese Halliburton cards. I think it's, and also interesting, the two biggest stars of this finals, if you want to get their best card, they're not going to be in there.
Well, wait a second. He didn't even win MVP. It was Pascal Siakam.
That's right. Exactly. This is where I'm like, if we're looking at this from a collectability standpoint, because I feel like clearly Halliburton is the guy if you're going to collect anybody on this Pacers team. But I just think long term, is he a smart buy at the? I mean, I wouldn't buy him at these prices, right?
Oh, you
now,
just
obviously.
go all in with T.J. McConnell.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You just that's the obvious. That's the obvious. That's I mean, some would say.
Yeah. I mean, great. If you've got Halliburton, but what I'm trying to say is, if you've got Halliburton, you got to get out now. I just don't see the long term.
Yeah,
value
I think from the sports card hobby, I think the Thunder are definitely the sexier pick.
Yeah.
You got Chet, you got Jalen Williams, you obviously got SGA, which his price is,
and you have more recent players.
You have more recent players. I mean, I guess with
for 2 or 3 years in a row, we've been chasing Thunder.
With the Pacers, you have Miles Turner, but he's a big guy, so I probably wouldn't. Benedict.
I was about to say the
Mathurin?
second guy that I think for collectors that have been on the radar of collectors is Benedict Mathurin on the Pacers.
I mean, Obi Toppin can go back.
There was a time.
Former Knick.
There was
Former
a time.
Knick.
A lot of that on the Knicks and slam dunks, but yeah, there was a time where we were chasing Obi Toppin.
But I think from a collectible standpoint, I think OKC, you definitely have the sexier picks
and
for
selling
sure.
when the time's right. I've actually been buying cards for buybacks lately, and I've been skipping any of these teams right now because I'm like, you're gonna be paying a premium right now if you're gonna get into an auction and you're gonna bid on Halliburton or Jalen Williams or Chet. There was one I was bidding on a 101 of Halliburton, and it was like, no. It's like kept getting outbid. I'm like, nah, this is not the time to buy and get any value out of this card. But it is time to sell, in my opinion, unless you're, a lover of Halliburton and you want to just hold on to him until you go to the grave. But
I feel a little bit more bullish about the future prospects of Shea. I mean, because he's done it the last few years. He is legitimately a top player in the NBA. I mean, he just won the MVP, and he's only 26. And I just like the Thunder as a team better.
He just seems kind of cool, especially when he's hitting those mid-range jumpers. He just seems just so relaxed out there. You know what I mean? He's just got it down. He's cool. He's cool. He's built for the moment.
Yeah.
I think honestly the Thunder win. I know you said the Pacers win, but I mean Pacers are a better defensive team I think overall than the Thunder. But I think the Thunder have the offense.
There's still the feeling, and again, these are words I feel like I'm going to eat. It still feels like the Thunder are the team that this is all season has led to this moment. The last 2 years has led to this moment, and the Pacers are like, yeah, we're just happy to be here.
Well, what are the Pacers are fourth seed?
Fourth seed.
OKC, obviously
number one
seed.
in the West. Yeah,
actually number one overall, right?
No, Cleveland was
Cleveland. That's right.
So Pacers have a chance. I don't know how many times, if ever, this has happened in NBA history. Have a chance to beat both number one seeds in each conference in one playoff.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Chet Holmgren looks like he kind of skips leg day. Have you seen him running around? I'm like, geez, dude, if somebody rolled into his leg, snap.
It's a scrawny guy.
Yeah, that probably contributes to his speed, but I'm like, geez, man.
Right.
I was like, is that real? It doesn't even look real.
I know it's not great for ratings, but I think we're going to see some pretty good basketball in this finals. I think every game is going to be relatively close. And again, I can't see it going. It's going to go 6 or 7 games.
We'll be very curious to see what the ratings end up for this. I mean, I feel like the NBA, they're like, well, as long as there's a star there, and there's Shea Gilgeous. He's a newer star, so maybe that's going to play into it.
I think they can market it fine with Halliburton and SGA.
And I think the Pacers are a shock, but I think people had that Thunder last year to win it,
exactly.
So I think it's finally coming together. And hey, shout out! We're not even talking about this, but shout out to the other side of the coin, the NHL Finals. Shout out to Doug Plagans.
Yeah,
third year in a row going to the finals.
Now
That's
you
crazy.
want to talk about a championship, a final with some juice right there. Rematch. Last year was a classic.
7 games, right?
7 games. Edmonton came back down 3-0, and you still have it all there where McDavid still hasn't gotten his one. Can the Panthers become a dynasty here? There's a lot of that to me is one where there's a lot of excitement.
I feel like McDavid is running out of opportunities,
The
though.
Panthers look so good, too. They've been
Panthers
just steamrolling teams, dude.
Yep,
it's been.
And again, it felt very much like a champ the way that when you go for that second one where you're like, all right, everyone got healthy at the right time, and everything clicks in once it's like, all right, now it's time for playoffs, time to get serious, time to lock in. We made it to the dance. Now we just got to get back there, and that's very much we've seen it here with the Warriors with that second title mentality where you're like, just once you're in the playoffs, then it's lock in, don't mess around. So.
We got a few new this week in the hobby, a few news tidbits. Looks like a new Honus Wagner T206 is live on Golden. Bidding already approaching $3 million with 19 days left. You guys drop a bid on there, Dan?
Sheesh.
It's a 1.
It's a 1.
It's a 1.
It is a very clear one.
I mean, granted, you're not going to see a lot of Gem 10s in that card.
There's not many of them. If you guys don't know the story behind the Honus Wagner, which we probably said on this show before, Honus did not support himself being in a tobacco product.
Is it Honus?
Honus.
I've always said Honus.
I think it's Honus.
I think it's Honus.
Honus? Let us know.
So, yeah, obviously the cards
Sound
were
off.
only available in the cigarette packs, and Honus had himself pulled out of there. So there's very few in existence, let alone. So, I mean, Grant, because you're like thinking the best card of all time should be like a Babe Ruth or a Mickey Mantle. I mean, Mickey Mantle PSA 10 52 is a big card. But the Honus is the Honus. Now you got me saying it wrong. Honus. Tomato.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
It's so rare that this is definitely within hobby lore.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly what it is. It speaks to something that's a recurring thing. Is a recurring theme we talk about here. Is it's just as much about the player as it is about the story behind the card. Like even the 52 mantle.
Well, yeah, there's a story behind it.
The story behind it is as much about the sensation Mickey Mantle was as it is about all of the other stuff surrounding that, about all the cards falling somewhere in the middle of the ocean and all that. So,
and the very first card graded by PSA was the Gretzky Honus that's in the collection of the Diamondbacks owner now, but was originally owned by Gretzky.
What's the grade on that one?
I think that one's a 7.
Jeez.
And I think that is the highest grade, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I could be speaking out.
But also labeled as altered, right? Wasn't that the one that was?
I think there's controversy surrounding it being altered, but I don't know if it's labeled.
It doesn't it say Gretzky collection or something on the
Gretzky Wagner.
Gretzky Wagner.
Boy, the day that I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, the Diamondbacks owner. The day he decided, I can't remember.
McCormick?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something.
The day he decides, you know what, I'm gonna.
It's Mr. Diamondback.
Mr. Diamondback, thank you. That he decides I'm gonna part with some of these cards. It will be very exciting day. I'll just be. So
I've seen him in person. I mean, it's insane.
You've seen Mr. Diamondback?
Yeah, he wears it around his in a chain.
No, they had it at the
at the
Griffey thing. Griffey Trent Center
It was a
party.
Griffey, yeah.
But yeah, 52-10. I think he has a Willie Mays 52 or 51-10. I mean, it's
the greatest card collection, like bar none.
Yeah.
It'll be.
But, you guys talk about, like, going back in time. It makes you wonder, like, where, like, the story, and we'll obviously never know, the story behind this particular Wagner, how it got so damaged. It just was probably on kitchen tables, thrown into shoe boxes. And you're just like, that's $1 million card you're just throwing around. But at the time, nobody had any idea.
Like, the crazy thing is like, you just wonder, like, how many hands did that card go through in its lifespan?
Yeah.
Like, did it just sit in one shoebox for 80, 90 years? Or did it just go through different hands over the years? It's just, it'd be amazing if like that card can basically tell its whole life story.
Yeah. With 19 days left, that is near, I think, just under $3 million.
It's a steal.
Got 19 days.
It's a steal. If I had $3 million burning a hole in my pocket, that's where I would go.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, because I noticed on the listing, and I'll see if I can get it up here for people watching, but I noticed on the listing, I've never seen this on any other card, it has slides of the card on Golden, and then the other slides are comparing the appreciation of Honus Wagner cards compared to like the stock market. And I found that kind of interesting. Like,
let's throw it up there. I want to see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll show you guys. Like, I don't know if this is a normal
Is it trying
thing.
to say that this is a sound investment without actually saying it's a sound investment?
Probably.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, here you go. Here you go. This is for...
It's all... You want to be smart with your money, right?
Right. This is for the listeners at home. So this is the Golden listing right here, and you could see.
Oh, it's the Connecticut Wagner.
Yes, the Connecticut Wagner. There you go, white border. But you can see right there, it shows like the Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, and it shows that versus this PSA 1 T206. There's a couple other graphs here as well where it just shows the overall pricing. But
that doesn't make me feel like it's a good investment, though. It makes me feel that I'm buying it at its peak. That's
probably not. Yeah.
Take it down. Because that, like, you look at that graph and you're just all, oh, that's really steep. It went up really quick. I'm like, am I buying it? Am I buying that card at the worst possible time?
Right.
Granted, in 20, 30, 40 years, it's not going to matter, and it will still perform.
Right, exactly. I just found that interesting, especially where I think you're starting to hear more talk of like, oh, there are higher investors coming in and look. The high-end market is doing really well because you have a lot of people who are looking it through that lens, and I'm sure Golden's like, well, all right.
I want to buy a piece of it. What was the site back in the day? Like, not even back in the day, like 3-4 years ago that you can buy fractions of the card.
Oh yeah,
Rally.
It was Rally.
Yeah,
Rally.
Yeah,
is the one.
that's.
Remember we were talking about on this podcast. We could have bought Mickey Mantle's home.
That's right.
Yeah,
Rally was the one who did that. You could buy his childhood home,
like a floor, like a piece of the carpet or something.
Whatever happened to that?
I have no idea.
Because weren't they going to make it into like a museum or something like that? And I remember the community was kind of like,
do you get
no, you're not.
You get a piece of the admission. If you had a piece of the house,
no clue how.
Do you have to show up
out.
and basically sell tickets? What do you got to do?
No idea.
Collect it.
Yeah, you have to work. You got
to work the door.
You got to work at least 20 hours a week.
Yeah, or you have to do landscaping or do something.
Got to hand out pamphlets.
Paint the house.
But you know, I was also I know this will never happen, but let's just say hypothetically, because we know that the Honus Wagners were pulled out of like print, right? What if there was like new discovery? Somebody just found 7,000 Honus Wagners, the ones that were pulled from the run, and they were found in some warehouse in New York,
just in pristine condition.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of 10s now, and all these guys. Are
it would devalue what was in the market, but you gotta figure the W for the person who found all of them.
Oh god!
Oh my gosh! It's what a win! Yeah, what a win!
Richest person in the world?
Probably.
They're just passed out.
All right, so I found 70 of these. They're all minimum $4 million. All right, let's start the bidding.
Jeez, could you imagine?
Well, I mean, if that was to happen, like PSA probably wouldn't accept 7,000 Honus Wagners.
You gonna sell them raw?
Well, no.
But if that were to happen, you're right. It would be a lot of like, whoa. We gotta hold up here. We gotta make sure this is right.
There's some people who have a lot of power that would probably step in at some point and be like, we can't put all these out in the market right now.
Destroy them.
Just burn it. Burn them. No one can know.
Speaking of PSA,
get the Men in Black thing that they erase their memories like you never saw these.
You never saw this. Fake. They're all deemed fake. So in a recent survey, we were talking about PSA. I wonder if they would do these for these 700 Honus Wagner cards.
Oh, I thought we said 7,000.
7,000. Could be.
I like 7 million.
They probably didn't make 7,000 of each player back then and put them in cigarette packs, but I also would like to see the reaction of the person that walked out of the liquor store with the cigarette pack.
Okay, I don't think there's a liquor store back then.
Where were you buying cigarettes in 1909?
The drugstore.
General store.
A general store, a pharmacy. Yeah, again, because they were like,
a place that
here you go. Here's a pack of Marlboro Reds.
You would basically put your horse in the little horse area because you wouldn't. I don't think you're going to be able to drive a car.
Yeah, but you want to be
point.
careful. You don't want to put it in the red zone because they will tow that horse away.
Maybe a covered wagon,
put a boot on the horse.
I just assume everything was like Oregon Trail, right?
Yeah.
You had to go and get your bison and whatever.
Sure.
You could die of dysentery or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's.
But I'm just saying, like, how many times the guys get the cigarette out of there, and then we're like, oh, what's this? And just throw it away. Or maybe they had gum in their mouth, and they used it to put the gum in.
And that's part of the reason they're so expensive. They just were like, kids would hang out in front of the stores, and they were like, can we have them? Like, yeah, sure, fine. I don't
but it wasn't for kids if they put them in cigarette packs.
I thought you were saying kids were going in there trying to get the pack of smokes.
I remember when I was reading up about a lot of the history of that time, it was kids would just hang out in front of general stores and pharmacies, and they would wait for people to come out who bought cigarettes, and they'd be like, excuse me, can we get your cards? And they'd be like, yeah, I don't care about this stuff. Sure, take it. So that's
what a time.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a case break. Case break of smokes.
I know somebody tried to do it. I think it was
vintage breaks,
and they opened but there wasn't any cards.
There wasn't any cards in there.
Yes,
then it was
right.
It's like
it's a great idea.
Sometimes they didn't put the cards in there. You're like,
yeah.
How much was this pack?
$7 million.
Yeah, exactly.
$7,000. Apparently, PSA they sent out a letter about asking people in their VIP membership club if they introduce card cleaning for an extra $2.99 per card on submissions, if they would like that. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like
they're getting into the business of juice, huh?
Juice.
Cleaning it.
PSA juice.
PSA juice.
I feel like the show's opinions on card cleaning are pretty firm. I feel like we're anti-card cleaning, right?
I mean, I'm assuming this is $2.99, so they're probably giving each person who's doing this service at their facility 10 to 20 seconds per card. I'm sure it's just going to be a microfiber wipe, wipe down.
Exactly. You want to do that?
We're okay with that, right?
That's fine.
We're okay with the little wipe down,
but where it becomes. Where it leads, it almost becomes altering.
If you start putting some stuff on there, and you're doing a little buffing action, and you're removing scratches and all that good stuff, I think that's where we go.
Yeah, but you can't see my mind goes, okay, this is like a conflict of interest for me to think about because it's the person that's grading is the person that's cleaning it. That's a conflict of interest. Also, are you going to be like, I didn't pay the $2.99. If I would have, I might have got a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, I mean, what does that $2.99 seems like? If you're thinking, oh yeah, if the 9 or 10 is a huge jump for all the time, so what's $3?
But also on the flip side of it, how much is a microfiber cloth? It's like $6, $7. If you're submitting 100 cards, you're going to be paying an extra $300. So wouldn't you do it yourself? But then you're like, okay, I got an 8 because I didn't pay. Like, you can't help but think.
But I also think it's unnecessary liability on PSA's end. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to get that card, and they're like, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. And then it comes back a 6. And then the customer's like, well, I looked this card over. Did you guys do something during the cleaning process that damaged my card? And now it's a 6 as opposed to being a 9.
Right.
And PSA is taking on this liability for $3.
Yeah, that's why I ultimately don't think anything comes of this. I think it's just kind of testing the waters.
Or are they trying to figure out how many people are cleaning cards that are submitting?
True.
So if they get this survey back and it's like 90%, yeah, I would take advantage of this. That probably is telling PSA that 90% of their customers are already doing this before it gets to their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they roll it out. I mean,
I doubt they roll it out.
I would be pretty surprised because you're right. I didn't even think about that. There is a liability of
there's an unnecessary liability for $3 a card.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. But like I said, if I get an 8 or 9 and I think I had a 10, I'd be like, well, I already spent $100 to grade it. I guess I should have paid the $3. Now I feel guilty. Like, oh, I probably would have got a 10 if I would have had them clean it.
And then but I also they're thinking that way. Like any high dollar card, somebody's going to obviously pay the extra $3. If they're already paying $100 to submit a card, they're going to pay the extra $3.
And I believe there's also a charge. It might be included in the higher end service, but they will include greater notes. So why your card did not get a 10 or a 9, why corner or not centered or whatever. So it looks like Walmart is getting into the breaking game. They are going to introduce, or they already have introduced, Walmart Live.
Walmart Live.
Where We The Hobby, who has a big presence on Fanatics Live and whatnot, are the first on their platform Just never thought we'd get, I don't know, Walmart. I do shop there. I'm not going to lie. But I shop there because it's cheap. So when I think of Walmart, I think of cheap. But when I'm involved in the hobby, I don't want to think cheap, right? So that's how I think about it right now. My perception of it all is cheap. So I'm going to be able to get my blaster breaks, or my, my tins or something there. And maybe they're trying to change that point of view, because We the Hobby is far from doing, cheap breaks of retail products. They're doing their own buybacks, their high-end stuff. They're doing multiple player cases. So I don't know. To me, I mean, we got an email back in the day from a disgruntled customer saying that our cases were bad and that we got them at Walmart. But now it's like come to full fruition that there is actually case breaks.
Now
at
I'm
Walmart,
buying into my breaks on Walmart. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is not going to be the first big company that's going to jump into live e-commerce. I think it's going to be kind of the norm. I think it's going to take a while for everybody to figure out where it's going to be in its place. But everybody's going to. I mean, Amazon's probably going to be next.
Amazon is the one where I'm actually surprised.
Target will probably get on board. Everybody will get on board at some point.
Yep.
Well, and this is my point of view on it, is they're probably not doing this with cards in mind. They're thinking about, like, hey,
toilet paper,
eggs. No, they're thinking about, can you imagine
Eggs?
Black Friday, for those that can't make it out, we got somebody selling PS5s and discounted records, and you know what I mean? And they're selling it on the live. That's probably a bigger picture thing for them, but they're like, oh, well, who does streaming live right now? It's these guys that do breaking cards. So let's get them on here and like at least run through some of the bugs and stuff before we, launch into Samsung TVs and Switch 2s.
Switch 2, yeah.
Stuff like that, where the guy's actually selling stuff that's in the store. I'm thinking that, or maybe discount clothes. I think it's the bigger picture for these kind of companies like Amazon and Target and Walmart. But low-hanging fruit is to get somebody that's already doing streaming, that already knows the technology.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. It's the easiest way to introduce this and make it look nice and clean and fancy, and and I think there is a little bit of Walmart being like, hey, this space is doing pretty big right now. Maybe we need to get our foot in the door.
Well,
so I mean, works both ways. I think.
And there was news that GameStop is going to focus more on trading cards.
Well, they're big. Yeah, they said that they had one of their best years in a while, almost solely thanks to embracing more collectibles, trading cards, Pokemon, all that.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm telling you, live commerce. We've been talking about it for years now. How we're barely at the beginning stages, first quarter of it.
Where are we? Maybe in about 2 years, looking at almost every major retail. Like, I'm talking Walmart, Target, Amazon. Who am I missing of just major?
Well, you get social media companies too.
Right,
I think at
exactly.
some point it's not going to be the big box retailers though, but it's also going to be manufacturers. Why?
Yeah.
What stops manufacturers from doing their own product?
Well, their relationships with their distributors and big sellers.
Yeah, at some point it's going to be a direct-to-consumer business model.
Yeah, and I think there might be some kind of legalities and monopolies and stuff like that on how they want you to sell it. Like, I don't think Apple can go and start selling phones. Like, I mean, I guess they do sell phones on their website, but like, they have to give some to Target. They have to they have to keep these relationships going. So we'll see. Yeah, I think we're just at the.
But I'm thinking like Disney, for example. Like, what stops Disney from going live with their Disney shop and selling all their stuff instead of having to have a section in Target?
Yep.
Where they have to basically sell it wholesale at Target. They just sell it directly to the consumer online, through like an e-commerce live platform.
Yep. Topps will be remaking the Leo Messi cards. That they've had their own internal investigation. I know a lot of people have been outspoken about his autograph. The Athletic ran an investigation breaking down why PSA has refused to authenticate some of the Messi autos that have surfaced from Topps products. Apparently, he's not signing them. Somebody in his camp is signing them.
There is a lot of murkiness on who is signing this exactly. And it's been this long, like, if you've been collecting soccer or seen Lionel Messi's auto, this is not new news that there is inconsistencies, to put it lightly, with some of these autos. And now I think that athletic report from March, I think, made it a lot louder to the general public that, hey, this the biggest soccer player, arguably the biggest athlete in the world, might be submitting fake autos to these companies, and these cards are going to be going for, I think like even his cheapest auto is $4,000.
Is this isolated to just Topps, or is this also
like
with
it's
Panini?
mostly Topps. This is mostly a Topps focused effort right now and issue. Because all the ones that they've been trying to get PSA certified, and PSA said no, have been Topps cards, and they're coming out of Dynasty. A lot of these cards. So I think the latest article was mentioning that they are going to. Topps has not made a public statement, but they did say internally they've learned, yes, they are going to start to replace some of these cards. And a lot of those are Topps Dynasty cards from the last couple of years.
And, I mean, seeing how some of the inner workings with these companies, I mean, obviously Messi's probably, not in the States all the time or wherever he's a busy guy. So Topps has him, like Panini has him sign an affidavit when he sends these cards back in that this was his likeness. Mm-hmm. So unless they want to question one of the greatest soccer players of all time, they're taking him at face value, and they're putting him out in products because they say, hey, he signed this contract, he signed this affidavit that he signed these cards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's also, I don't know if you've seen it's actually coming out this Wednesday, the Willie Mays JFK.
Yes.
You want me to send you this picture so you can put it up there?
Yes. But yeah, they have those presidential duels that are coming up, which is a cool idea because it's like, hey, Pete Rose was playing the same time that Gerald Ford was president. Let's put them both on a card.
Yeah, so if you bring this up, and I haven't heard anything out of Topps camp on this one, if you bring this one up. So, you click on that. And that's just somebody that I found on Twitter that's like actually excited about it. But you want to show it to the people that are watching the video.
Which auto is in question?
Well, you can see it.
Here, let me throw it up right now. There it is. There to our viewers from home.
So that is confirmed by multiple. The Willie Mays auto is confirmed by multiple people that is signed by his wife. So he does not sign his autograph that way.
I was going to say that is the Willie Mays auto that has come up a few
I remember
times
the Willie Mays auto. It doesn't. Willie Mays' actual auto doesn't look like it says Willie Mays.
It doesn't, and you could clearly see.
And this one is, I mean, it looks like it says Willie Mays.
And
like,
this wouldn't be the first time in the last couple of years. Remember that Babe Ruth one that was clearly found out very quickly. Like, oh no, this is his secretary's autograph of Babe Ruth. So this would not be the first time that Topps has run into this problem.
So if you want to,
year or so.
I'll show you. I'll send you this one. This one is what his auto looks like because it doesn't sound like
because it looks like it's a T instead. It like
I'll send it over there. But so I mean, with that one, I mean they're obviously knowingly buying this. They probably got it at a discount. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll buy this Willie Mays auto. It's a lot cheaper than a normal auto for him. Willie Mays has a lot of autos out there, but you could clearly see on the two photos that that is a Willie Mays auto there.
That
does not even look like the other one. So.
That is disappointing.
Some are saying the JFK one's questionable too because you had secretaries signing for him. I mean, presidential people signing off on documents. So,
still very cool card.
It is a cool card.
Yeah,
but it could potentially be
not as cool.
Willie Mays' wife's autograph of Willie Mays
and JFK's secretary
and JFK's secretary's autograph of JFK.
It's just a piece in history right there. It's just not. Still cool.
Love the idea. I think it's
great
a
idea.
Fantastic idea. We just got to get the execution right if we're going to do that.
Yeah,
that's all.
You would think somebody there. I mean, we've got some guys at Topps that have. There's actually one on the higher level of Topps. It's a Giants fan. I mean, you would think somebody would be like,
it's not quite
right.
It's
never good when there's controversy before the product gets released.
It's actually not even that big of a controversy. People aren't even really talking about it. The people that have talked about it, it's kind of been swept under the rug. So I don't even know if Topps is aware. I mean, unless they're following Twitter, but there's been multiple people that are like, I'm waiting for Steve Grad to weigh in because like he would be the guy that'd be like, oh no, it's not real, because he's the authenticating expert. But we'll see when it comes out. Unless that was just a mock-up.
That's the only other thing you could cover is you say that's just a mock-up. It's just to show the example of what it's going to look like. But yeah, you would just hope if it's the real one, like we just had an issue like a year ago. It was exactly the same as
Same
this.
thing. This week we've got Sterling Baseball, so you have a chance of hitting that card. I would guess that would go to the Giants spot. Or the cut auto spot if you're doing player breaks. Yeah. 24-25 Impeccable Soccer. And then we have the Cup, 23-24 the Cup Hockey. Yes, the Connor Bedard, not Eric Bedard, but Connor Bedard Cup Autos. Rookies.
Eric
Bedard, former Oriole pitcher.
The Oriole prospect.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a Eric Bedard. Former Mariner, I believe.
Yes, he was involved in the Adam Jones deal, if I'm not mistaken. He was the big piece going to the someone.
Wasn't he? He had like a couple good years, right? I think.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was all right.
He was a major league ball player. So,
but we also didn't talk about, if you get this image, the Cup are going to be encased. The RPAs are going to be encased. I don't know if you saw that picture. So look at Upper Deck's Twitter. Yes. And I wanted to comment on this because this is an interesting thing that's going on. So the RPA's number to 99 will be encased, and it'll have a QR code on the case to say what piece of the jersey it came from on that particular card, which some people are saying cool. But the problem is if you get that thing graded, you lose that.
Aren't these all like they're just player worn though? They're not even game used.
Maybe they are game used now. I don't know.
I always thought that these are just from, because they have a very similar like NHL rookie photo shoot that they put on these jerseys, and they do the same thing they do with the NFL. I always thought that these were not from any event or specific game. I thought they were just event-worn jerseys. So why would you want a QR code if it's not game-worn? I'm also confused on how the pack-out process is going to be. Is it going to be similar to how Panini encased, where they will have a individually wrapped card that's going to be encased?
That's what's going to happen. Yeah.
Because generally, you do see, and there's some boxes that when you'll open up the Cup, you'll actually have 2 RPAs. I'm assuming that will not be the case with this year's Cup, because you can't have 2 encased cards. That would be too obvious.
Right. Then you would, exactly.
Or are they going to be all redemptions that are going to be live that you're going to have to submit to get?
Yeah, you get 1 rookie patch auto, so that's probably how it's going to go down.
Yeah, here we go. I did just find it, thanks to this is Aaron on Twitter who I just found this from. So there you go. Yeah, Upper Decks will slab all RPA cards in the 23-24 the Cup. There you go.
But how are we feeling about this?
Can I scan?
I don't know.
Can I scan that? Let's see if I can scan that.
Scan the those little QR codes. All right, yeah, get up. All.
I don't think this is going to work, Doug.
Yeah, let's see. Let's try it. Yeah, they got that little QR.
This is good podcasting right here. This is
doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
No, the QR code did not work.
Wait a second. What do you mean it doesn't work?
Probably a mock.
It's a mock QR code.
Because I want to see if it says game use. You guys can still hear me. The good thing about this thing, I could dance with it on. But my whole problem is if you get that thing graded, you lose the QR code.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I guess it's the. I guess that is the.
Did we need this?
No. But you know what this is? It's them being like, well, this is going to be one of the biggest cups we've ever had because of Bedard autos, because Bedard rookies. So let's, instead of letting people get this graded by other people,
spend more money and time and resources to get something slabbed where
keep this internal.
Well, if anybody hits the Bedard, they're probably going to want to get it slabbed by a main grading company.
I know I would.
Well, what it is it's to prevent patch swapping. Is really the main goal.
But now when this card comes back and it's an 8, you crack it out and it gets an 8, then you're like, well, they should have got a 10 because it's uncirculated and it was slabbed right away.
You would think.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, once you crack it out, you lose all credibility of unless there's a database that you could just access. of the 23 of 99.
I got it. So you slab the card, but somehow you slab the QR code. You just, you know what? Just put adhesive, and you'll just put the QR code on the back of it.
Couldn't the QR code just be a sticker on the back of the card?
You mean the QR code on the card?
Well,
I don't know.
Printed on where it's, not.
Yeah, but then I think you would have to print like 99 individual QR codes, and that's probably hard to do at the printing facility, and then you have how many players you have to do it.
But couldn't you just could there be like an authentication sticker that's put on the back of the card, like how Dale Earnhardt Jr. has his own authentication sticker?
You could. That would definitely work.
Yeah, you could do a lot of things.
And maybe this database is always active for anybody that you don't need the QR code. And so maybe 10 years down the line, you could be like, that patch looks really good. Let me make sure that's a real one. And then you match it up with the 23 of 99, and you're like, yeah, it's the same patch. Maybe that's the purpose of it.
Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there has been a lot of patch swapping.
It seems like it's died down. I don't know.
I feel like
combat fraud and patch swapping.
I want to say this is something we were talking about a decade ago. I feel like we're late to the party here.
Well, remember Panini announced it 10 years ago, and then they never did it. They never
because they were like, this is hard.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at some comments that are like, I think QR codes are way easier to fake than RPAs. Frankly, like that's not a bad. It's a good point.
It
frankly.
is.
Yeah,
You're not wrong. I mean, bold move to basically take a five-figure card probably out of like a Bedard RPA and being like, I'm gonna cut this patch out and I'm gonna basically insert another one. I mean, I know it's happened, but it seems like the risk definitely outweighs the reward.
See, I was thinking that they were going to do these all as redemptions, and this was a way for them to like save on paper, like to like put those ones as like redemptions so that they can pay for it later after they get the money for the cup.
But we're not.
But I think they're live in there. So
are we? But we don't know. We'll know on Wednesday? Does it come out Friday?
It's
Thursday.
It is either. Yeah, it's
don't say Thursday.
I think it's Wednesday. It's right now. It says Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Protect says Wednesday.
So we'll know Wednesday.
We
will know Wednesday.
If every single RPA is a redemption, that's gonna be not fun.
Tough.
That's not gonna be fun.
Yeah, just weird to do this on a year that is like. You've got one of your biggest rookie chases the last decade, and you're doing this kind of a weird new thing. And I don't know. I don't know if
I see what I would have done if I was them, and I know it doesn't work this way. Is I would have done a dual year with Macklin and Bedard and doubled the production run.
Yeah,
and made so much cup.
And number the RPAs to 199.
No, I think you still make 99.
Yeah.
But you have double the rookie class.
But what you did with Panini did that.
Yeah, they did it with the double.
They did it with the double rookie class, and those RPAs are like Anthony Davis's year. Those RPAs are numbered to 199.
Yeah. They made more. But yeah, it's also harder to hit those ones.
Yeah, what do we know?
It's harder to hit those ones.
Yeah, I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of crack slabs. That's all I'm saying. I think you're not gonna see a lot of these.
Or people are just gonna send them a PSA and they're like, "You crack it."
That was the other thing I was going to ask. Can you just do that?
Is that covered under the $299
right.
cleaning
is
service?
That $299 crack it open?
Like, I mean, they want to get into a business. You can probably start charging $20, $30, $40 to have somebody
crack it.
Yeah.
Yep. Or what was send it to Shine, who had the craziest cracking. Ever.
With a knife, yeah.
Remember with the knife, it was like butter.
I mean, I've cracked some slabs. It's not
no damage.
It's not the easiest thing to do. It's a little dangerous. You need some type of goggles or eye protective gear, or you'll get some plastic in the eyeball, and that's a bad time. That's a straight.
Talk about microplastics.
Yeah, you're going straight to urgent care, and you're just having a bad time.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears into MLB and talk about some of the call-ups. Also, Series 2 is up on the website, Mojobreak.com, if you want to get in on some Series 2 jumbo case breaks. Get your team, get all the cards. We ship all cards. Unlike some other breakers out there, we ship every single card that has your team's logo that you picked. So you get everything. I think Series 2, I went over the checklist last week. I think the big rookies, Chase, Roki Sasaki, Jackson Jobe, And yeah, that's
Jackson Jobe.
We are eagerly awaiting update, is what you're telling me. Although we are also eagerly awaiting Top Series too. So.
there's a couple other names as well that they held out. Who else am I thinking of? They obviously
we've already had Cal Raleigh, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we have Big Dumper.
Because he has. I mean, what does he have? He has like 80.
Christian Campbell is a rookie in this.
Doesn't Cal Raleigh have 83 homers already this
23.
season? 83.
He's currently on pace
For 80.
64.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
might be the greatest. You want to talk about it, and he's a catcher, right?
Yes.
You want to talk about a catcher who can hit?
He is on pace to have the greatest hitting season any catcher's ever had.
Is he on the trading block?
If only.
Could he be a giant?
No, the Mariners just locked him up to a big extension this offseason. So
yeah, here's actually the big rookie. So you also have Kim for the Dodgers, who's
Hai-Sung Kim.
Hai-Sung Kim.
Yep.
So the Dodgers spot's obviously the most expensive. You have Acuna for the Mets. You have Luis Angel.
Luis Angel. Okay.
You have Thomas Sagassi on the Cardinals. Kumar Rocker on the Rangers.
Been hurt all year.
Kevin Alcantara, which I looked him up. He has like one at bat so far in the majors, but Cubs prospect rookie.
Yep.
So those are your big names for rookies. But they have the K insert, which is new for the pitchers.
I saw it. That looks really cool. I like the look of that.
Oh, they have
have it up right now.
But it's a die cut, right?
Yes, a die cut.
But they also have a forward-facing K and then
a backwards
K.
Yeah,
and one of them's harder to hit.
Right there,
Yeah.
you can see it. Thanks to Checklist Insider. You can see the backwards one.
Strikeout swinging, strikeout looking.
Looks
strikeout.
really cool. Yeah, and then here's the one of the
backwards
of the
K.
Yeah,
Backwards K is strikeout looking.
backwards is strikeout looking. Forward
Swinging.
is strikeout swinging. Yes.
Nice.
Just
In case
laid
you're
that.
keeping score at home.
That's good knowledge right there.
Yeah. By the way, we also have Signature Tunes dual autos, which pair up MLB All-Stars with musicians. So
With their walk-up song, maybe?
I don't actually know what the connection is. I mean, here's a Ronald Acuna Jr. one with Mike Towers.
Does
Who?
I don't know.
Does Buster Posey have? Is it Phil Phillips?
Philip Phillips.
Philip Phillips.
Sure. It's kind of neat. They've done that before in some other of these sets. So I
Was that the only one we had?
That's the only one they have as a mock-up. I'm going to check right now what the checklist is, because now I am intrigued. Like, what is that all about? Signature Tunes is what the name is.
So are we going to have...
I like that. I like that subset.
Are we going to have Wilmer Flores and what's the band that does the Rembrandts? Are we going to have Wilmer Flores and the Rembrandts?
I was going to say the replacements, but it's the Rembrandts.
There are two cards that are on there. You have Mike Towers and Ronald Acuna Jr. And, this is going to be a huge chase for Mets fans. Jose Iglesias and Kendalita, because, of course, last year Jose Iglesias became like the unofficial mascot of the Mets, along with Grimace, for his hit single OMG that he performed after a Mets game. Jose Iglesias' hit single, the shortstop of the Mets.
What are we talking about?
And Candelita is
is
the
it
guy I believe that was on the song.
And Doug's going to say, I'm not going to steal your joke.
Oh, Enrique Iglesias.
Yeah. No relation to Enrique. But if you saw like Mets fans holding OMG signs,
that would be a really good dual auto.
That would be, actually. That'd be a really good one. So, I was more hyped about that set. There's only two cards.
It's not much of a subset.
See, I think we're onto something now. We should get guys that have the same last name in different genres, right? So you could have Dylan Cruz, Tom Cruise. You know what I'm saying? You could have,
I like that.
even though it's not spelled the same, but
I'm still into it.
You go all kinds of different ways.
I'm still into that. I like that.
Luke Bryan, and there's got to be some kind of Daniel Bryan.
Sure.
You could do WWE.
Sure.
Trying to think of last names here. You know,
just like you do. All right. Yeah, I'm out.
Any other last names that are the same?
I don't know. I can't think of any.
All
right.
So Beavis and Butthead
Anyway,
show
but
now.
yeah, Series 2 it's got a couple guys. Christian Campbell, the other guy that I think is worth mentioning from the Boston Red Sox.
Christian Campbell, Glenn Campbell?
There you go.
There you go.
Boom. We're back.
Nice.
Late, great.
We'll have to get a
Glenn
cut
Campbell,
auto, but
yeah,
sure, it'll work.
There's got to be a lot of Jackson and Michael Jackson.
Oh, Reggie Jackson,
Michael
Reggie Jackson,
Jackson,
Jackson.
Merrill. You'd have all the you
Oh,
could
triple
make a
auto
Jackson.
Jackson Merrill, Reggie Jackson, Michael
I
Jackson?
mean, you could do a Jackson 5 with Jackson Merrill, Jackson Churio, Jackson Holiday, and throw in Michael Jackson, and then another Jackson.
Jackson Jobe.
Jackson Jobe. There you go. Jackson 5.
What's the name Jackson, dude? Crazy.
There you go.
There's got to be some Johnsons, too.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson.
Sure.
From AC/DC.
Mm-hmm.
And
Brian Johnson,
former catcher. It's like the same person.
Isn't there somebody from the Beach Boys, Johnson?
Yeah. No. Well, Brian Wilson and Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson and Brian. See, these are the things that
they need to get.
We need a seat at the table,
right?
Because we can come up with these ideas, and I don't know if anybody else can.
Yeah. Where's the Brian Wilson?
And where's the Brian Johnson?
Yeah, we need this. Yeah, exclusively a Giants set apparently.
Yeah. Got Randy Johnson too. I mean, geez, you got so many you could do. But yeah, Jac Caglianone. I think that's how you say it.
Caglianone.
We're all gonna learn.
Jack Cags, baby.
Actually, it's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Allen.
Jeffrey Allen.
That's what we just learned.
Yes.
Becomes the second member of the 2024 draft class to get the big call up, which would be him and Nick Kurtz.
Yep, Kurtz and Cags. They're here. They've made it. Both. It's funny. They're both the big slugging first baseman of just like, what can they do? Hit ball far. That's what they do. And they're both the ones who are up the fastest. So it's interesting, too, for Cags because I think there were a lot more questions of, is this going to translate to professional baseball? And those questions were answered very, very quickly.
I sure hope it would. He was drafted high in the first round.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're talking, 22, right? 22.
Yeah.
So this is his time. This is where we're at now. Like it seems like even now with like kids who get drafted, the window for them making their initial call up is like even smaller.
Yeah, but name one that's been successful without like 3 to 4 years of like AAA or college or any of that.
Right. That's the thing is if they are
Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar. Yeah.
Gunnar.
Pretty quick. Yeah, you're right.
Jackson Holiday.
But you're right. Like Paul Skeens gets called up within a year, but he had an incredible run at LSU before that, and that's translated into where he is now.
Well, also I think for the pitchers is like you don't want to waste their arm for 4 years in the minors if they're ready to go too, right? Yeah. I don't know. I was looking at data and I was comparing it and I was like 99.5% of the time to sell is like right when you pull the card because beyond that it's like you have no day. None of these guys go up. Like we were looking at cards like
I pulled a red auto.
You did.
Yeah, and this is if you're watching
it's a big one
yeah,
now.
This is the PSA 10 first Bowman's base chrome prospect autos of Skeens, Jackson Holiday, Spencer Torkelson. Skeens peaked, but he's at least gotten to a level where it's pretty steady, but Holiday and Torque.
Yeah, Torkelson, big drop off. As you can see, this is courtesy of Card Ladder.
Nice little bump there right at the end. That like, oh hey, Torque's doing it.
Kinda, yeah. That was the spring training bump,
but not even close.
Yeah, he had a really bad year.
He did. He's having a good year this year though.
2020 draft pick, first overall, a lot of hype, and people bought the hype.
Is minus 77% rate of growth bad?
That's bad.
That's
really
bad, right?
Very bad.
That's why it's in red.
Yeah.
Starting value 1,000, current value 224. Don't know what that means in car. I don't know if that's $1,000 to 224. I guess you could look at it that way. So just my whole point is like how many guys even over the past 20 years have had their first Bowman, and then actually went up from there. And there's very few cases. I mean, you can even say Trout now. Yeah, he went up, but now he's down compared to what he was.
Aaron Judge.
But Aaron Judge had a different path, right? Nobody really cared about him in 2013.
And I think
and then 2017 hit, and then he was a rookie. So he marinated. He was in there for a while.
And I think the key is exactly that. It's actually better to have a little less hype around you if for long-term value. Maybe the highs aren't as high, but if you're like, I want to get in and collect someone and I buy in at $200 and then they get called up and I'm like, oh, I actually can flip it for $500 or whatever.
But if you buy a guy at 10,
right?
You know what I mean? Then he becomes Aaron Judge. It's like, I'm sure $10 was Aaron Judge's prices.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with. So you're basically saying the data says the best time to sell is right
when the product comes out.
Or right when the product comes out, or right when that player is about ready to get called up.
Probably. Well,
I think right when the product's out.
Caglianone, couldn't you make an argument that right now today would probably be the best time to sell his cards as opposed to when the product just came out.
I think you have that window of you either sell when it comes out if he's ultra hyped, or you wait until he's called up. Because, I mean, what are the chances this guy's going to be the next Aaron Judge? Right? It's very slim.
It also, I think, depends on how quickly we go from first Bowman release to call-up. For Cags, I think we are in a window where, I think there is probably a big there's
but
a nice little
we do know crazy things can happen, right? He can get called up and he can hit for the cycle in his first game and hit 3 home runs in game number 2.
And then his market's insane.
And then his market is insane. He is it's a trickle-down effect with every single one of his cards will be 10 times what they were the previous week.
Right. But that's like you have to have all these stars aligned.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a better chance that he comes up and he probably struggles
and gets sent back down,
or he just gets up and he hits 220 and he has 2 homers in a full month.
Yeah,
and I mean it's still good for making their
still feeling fine
first shot at the bigs.
I mean, the one good thing about him, which I hope he does, this is one case where I want success because he's a huge card collector. He's all in. He's been breaking. He's been getting breaks.
That's what motivates him to be a good ball player.
Yeah,
is to get his hopefully his cards
to be an ambassador for the hobby.
Or he's like, I'm gonna struggle right now. I got to get some of my cards.
I got it.
He's like, I'm a buyer.
Here's just a quick look. I went on eBay just to see some of the top CAG sales right now. That Spotlight Superfractor, $16K back in April. That's his highest one I could find.
What is the snack pack bubble gum?
The snack pack bubble gum.
It's
people
a special
love
pack,
it.
man.
Yeah, special pack. So there's only 5 of those in each flavor available because I think it's like bubblegum seed. What is it? Bubblegum seeds, popcorn,
chew.
Chew.
No, I don't think so.
Zen?
Zen?
The Zen parallel.
The Zen parallel.
But yeah, they're like baseball snacks. So the people love those. There's a number to 10 there as well. That's also sitting up high. So
kind of hurts the red parallel though when you have all those.
Yeah, but a red parallel would not go for what was it, 7,000-8,000?
Yeah, it was actually
close
I think
to
those
20
were
to 30.
9. The highest was at 9, and that's on May 26th. That sold, so that's a more recent sale.
I do believe the one that we pulled sold for something around 15K.
What wasn't a true red though, was it?
It was a red wave, red lava.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the super bubblicious or whatever we just saw there,
not
but
the Bubblicious.
Yeah, it wasn't the big league chew parallel, but it was a good one.
His first Bowman base PSA 10, the average sale right now is looking at about $575 to $600 for a PSA 10 first Bowman base auto of CAGs. So
I like that price.
Yeah,
it's not bad. I might
that.
buy it at that price, but I also have I have memories of Bubba. Bubba. Very similar.
Bubba Chandler. I know.
Bubba, what was his last name?
Bubba Starling,
right,
not Bubba Chandler.
I pulled a gold.
Bubba Chandler.
Yeah.
It's a different
That has to be
supposed to be a quarterback. Took a big
Did
deal.
I make that up?
Yeah, Bubba Chandler. I don't think ever played baseball.
Yeah, well,
but have it. That is a baseball name. So
there is a baseball player named Bubba Chandler.
Really?
There's I was gonna say Bubba Chandler's the top prospect right now. Top pitching prospect for the Pirates.
Okay.
That's why I knew
Bubba.
I was like, I know that somewhere. But to the point of it's good to have a tighter window, and also good to almost not be the number one guy. Case in point, we haven't talked about Marcelo Meyer got called up very recently. Alex Bregman got hurt; they had to call him up. There's Marcelo Meyer's market. You can see it when the product first came out. Peak at about $1,500 for a base first Bowman PSA 10 auto. And the call-up didn't really do that much for him. The market's just kind of steady. And he gets still, I think, at about just under $400 for that one. Versus James Wood, who is having an amazing year.
That's a lot of ups
No
and downs.
No doubt. We are at the actual peak of James Wood. The peak has not been as high.
But nobody was talking about him in 2022 Bowman.
Exactly. No one was talking about him people were still collecting him, but I would say he was like the 5th guy, the 6th guy.
I go through some cards. We might have one of those.
James Wood now, and I think the you're going to see him go up a little more, obviously, because he's actually, like, you look at the numbers and he's like, is he like one of the top 5
hitters? How did he go from the Padres
baseball?
to the Nationals?
The Juan Soto deal.
Ooh.
That Juan Soto deal is him, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel. They're all now in the big leagues. Hassel took a little longer. Hassel was the one who was
and Juan Soto's on the Mets.
And Juan Soto's on the Mets. Now,
Juan Soto,
you could argue the Padres then flipped him for Michael King, who's become an ace. So they're feeling. And Dylan Cease, also part of that, turned into the Dylan Cease trade.
Juan Soto not having a good year.
He's doing okay. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. This
like
is what
$1
he
billion
does.
fine?
Yeah, this is what he does. He has slow starts. Then he's like, you know what? Let me play the home run derby. Let me get my swing right. He's the one guy who's like, I need to get right. Let me be in the home run derby.
No, you signed that deal. There is
No, you're right.
There's no get right. You don't have a get right grace period.
You're
like, plus he's in New York. You're getting that type of money.
Just wait. At the end of the year, you're going to look at those numbers. You're going to go, all right, number one in on-base percentage. He had 34. He had 35 home runs.
He better hit 90 home runs and bat 700.
But anyway, James Wood, I also say because he's on my fantasy team and he's absolutely tearing it up, and I feel very good about that pick. But it just goes to show if you get.
I haven't put my fantasy lineup in a while.
Those are the types of guys, maybe.
James Wood. Isn't there an actor?
Not James Woods.
Oh, plural. Okay, I was like, we almost got another dual auto.
Oh, that's right.
Well, you do have a James Woods. You're right.
Yeah, but the S at the end. You can't. No, you
we'll
can't. It's not the same thing.
We'll make it work. Come on. We got to make it work. But that leads me to the other question is now we know I don't.
Fourth?
Yeah, I'm starting. I'm actually.
We're talking fantasy.
Well, I went.
I forgot to put my lineup in.
I was 12th in my Roto League.
In how many?
4 out of 12. Worse, and I'm like 5th now.
Coming up on me, dude.
I've basically figured it out. I am the worst in my league in home runs, RBIs, in every offensive category possible, except for stolen bases and average. But whatever.
All right.
I'm showing that you could be a successful team without hitting home runs, like our Giants.
Are you showing it though?
Yeah,
12 out of 12.
No,
he's sixth now.
No, I'm 6th.
I'm fourth, but I was in first for a while. So
yeah, and everybody is tuning in to listen to
fantasy baseball.
Fantasy baseball,
our personal fantasy baseball time.
Which nobody. I can't believe I'm still putting my lineup in.
But I do want to ask because now we have an idea of what the MLB debut patch class is going to be this year in 2025. So we know for sure that we're going to have Marcelo Meyer now in this class, which is going to be huge. You throw him in with Dylan Cruz, James Wood, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Christian Can. Like, there's a lot of big names here. So if you can only have one for, I don't know, to hold of this rookie class, who's it going to be?
I do feel like this is, last year was way better for candidates.
It was a crazy good year last year.
That's not a great way to sell the product.
It was you had Merrill, Churio,
Holiday,
Skeens, Holiday, Dela Cruz.
Yeah.
It was a really good class.
Was
Yamamoto.
Yeah.
It was a really good class.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to poo-poo on this class. It's going to be, like, there are big names here. There are big prospects here that people have been following and have been chasing for a long, long time. And I do think there's at least, again, I'm falling over myself to praise James Wood, but I really do believe
he'll be the number one. Yeah.
He's the number one. I mean, we're throwing out Miguel Cabrera comparisons with him, and then the weekend that the Giants were playing him, finally getting to see him play over an extended period of time, I'm like, I get it. This guy it's so effortless, short swing, easy power, and just a good all-around hitter on top of it.
Would you take him over Ellie De La Cruz? If you're building a franchise?
Ooh. I mean, he's been a better overall hitter.
I mean, he is on your fantasy team.
He is on my fantasy team, and I think the overall numbers have been better for him.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because with Ellie De La Cruz, like, he was what everybody in our hobby was talking about.
Yep.
He was the second coming, but James Woods has potentially better stats.
He does.
And we're not talking about him.
We're not
like we were talking about
Ellie
Ellie De La Cruz. What is it? Because Ellie De La Cruz
steals,
does a lot of flashy stuff.
I think there's the perception.
Stills home plate.
There's the perception that Wood is a one-dimensional player. That he is this. I don't know if I would say one-dimensional. Yeah, I guess so. That he came in as like, oh, he's a bopper. He's gonna hit him far. He's gonna hit him long. And that's what he's going to do. But the thing that's happening is like, no, he's a really good all-around hitter. Also, he's got 9 steals. Like, he's on pace to have, like,
30.
Or at least 20.
What's Ellie hitting? Ellie hitting 220?
Ellie's hitting 258, 330. He's having a good year.
Okay.
He's doing fine. He has 17 stolen bases with 12 home runs. He's on pace for like a 20 or a 25, 30 potentially. But, again, James Wood isn't actually that far off, and he's having a better offensive year, and he's a little younger. So I guess I would lean towards him. But the other part of that is De La Cruz plays the premium position. He plays shortstop. He is also a has an incredible arm. All the other elements you want. Like, he is more of a well-rounded player. He brings more skills to the table.
Rocky's not been. He hasn't lived up to the hype, right? Hasn't he been hurt or something like that?
It's just been. I think the expectations were super, super high for him, but it's like he's younger than because I think especially Dodgers fans saw Yamamoto last year and went, great. Like,
we have another one.
Let's keep signing.
It doesn't.
These
it doesn't
the best
matter.
pitchers from Japan, and let's keep.
They're going to win
building
120 games.
Right,
It doesn't matter if he's in the lineup or not in the lineup.
Yeah,
if he's doing well or not doing well.
Not fair to him to compare him to what Yamamoto did last year, and what frankly Yamamoto's doing this year, which is being one of the best pitchers in the entire National League.
He's on my fantasy teams.
Dodgers. Blake Snell a little banged up, right?
Not the entire pitching staff is banged up.
Like last year.
Yeah.
Last year, that was their issue, is that their whole pitching staff, I mean, it didn't really hurt them that much because they won the World Series.
Should bring back Trevor Bauer, dude. You know what I'm saying? He's looking for a job.
Oh, brother.
Looking for a job doing his YouTube videos.
Getting beat up in, the third best league in Mexico. But, yeah. I'll throw out also Jacob Wilson just because I'm a sucker for Jacob Wilson. I love his, play style. It's fun. There's a crazy stat that,
Oakland A's, right?
Yeah.
Sacramento A's.
Whatever they are.
Las Vegas A's.
Yeah, the roving A's of California.
I don't think they're moving to Las Vegas.
You know what's funny? I was looking at the checklist for tops, and it was Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants. It just says athletics.
Athletics.
It had no city affiliation to it. So
yeah, as Mike Krukow called them, the Oaklamento A's.
Oaklamento. They're everybody's team.
They're everyone's team.
They're everybody's team. You have your team, and then you have the Athletics.
Yeah. But there's some crazy stat of Jacob Wilson has. Well, here you go. He's got only 14 strikeouts in 57 games so far, which for a young player that is unheard of. Mm-hmm. But also, he's not really walking a ton. He's just hitting so much. I think they said something like he's only had 4 3-ball counts all season.
What's his batting average?
I think
he's batting 357.
Jeez.
I think I'm going to be able to turn this around. I think he's on my fantasy team.
Yeah. He's been good.
Awesome.
I think that 3-ball count stat has changed, but it was a funny
stat. Talk about fantasy baseball, but let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it.
So anyway,
people crave.
You're right. Last year's rookie class was special. Really, really special. There's a lot of good guys in this one, but I think if we were to compare the two,
there's still going to be chase. People are still going to be buying these teams, but it's going to be hard.
And someone's going to break. We don't know. Marcelo Meyer might just be the savior for the Red Sox that they need.
So is the Washington Dick's Sporting Goods? They're gonna buy the James Wood.
They're gonna buy the James Wood and
display?
the Dylan Cruz. You got to buy them both.
Yeah, you got to have them both.
It's a tandem deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's end off the show with some Pokemon. Man, Destined Rivals came out this weekend. We couldn't fit any more people in the shop.
We had a line starting at 5:00 in the morning.
There was a kid that pitched a tent or a seat or something outside.
5:00 in the morning.
Amazing. Such a great community, and these guys sat around all day, ate the free tacos we had, bought a lot of product, just having a lot of fun. And I think Cody has a video about a guy taking his Pokemon collection.
Okay, so right now Pokemon is crazy right now, as we all kind of know, but this came across. I saw it through Collectibles Guru. It comes from PokeStreets on IG. This is a clip of, to preface it a little bit, the guy. There's a car dealership. This sales associate from a car dealership. He is known, he goes viral for these kind of crazy deals he's able to strike with customers of like these willing to accept graded cards as a form of payment for a car.
It's a good little niche to get into.
Whether it's like, hey, you give me a $25K card and we'll do the rest and we'll finance the rest, or we'll do the rest in cash, however, blah, blah, blah.
It's like bringing in a trade-in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he's gotten in other things too that he's done for trading. So somebody called up and said, "Hey, I got something for you. You can you'll be able to hear the audio, listeners."
We should do that with our Sean Mannion collection.
Yeah, we might be able to
should
get
actually.
See what we can get.
Yeah. Here you go.
I've actually seen you on social media. You guys do like a bunch of crazy like trades and stuff. So I'm a card collector, but I have a pretty large Pokemon card collection.
The only way we would do a card on trade if it's like PSA graded or...
I have a graded PSA 9, 1998 Magikarp. It's card number 129. You know, I've appraised the card myself, and I know exactly what it's worth. So, you know, I was seeing if we can do a trade on that Mustang.
When you say you appraise the card yourself, what do you mean? Like you put the own value on it?
I know what it's worth. No, I know what it's worth. I mean, I have a huge collection.
Where did you want to bid on trade? Just the one card plus cash, or?
This GT350 that you have is listed for, I think, what, $54,000, right?
Yeah, $55,400.
I believe this card is worth about $55,000.
So you want to do like an even trade?
That's correct.
I'm on eBay right now looking at comps, bro, and there's a few PSA 9s of the same card in the U.S. for like $30,000 or so. Even on like the PSA official website, it's showing like there's average sale price for a 9 is around $30,000.
You can use my appraisers or whatever, and I promise you'll get about $55,000 for this card. Absolutely.
I mean, if they want to give me $55,000 for it, and I'll just like sell it to them, and then we could use that, we could do that. But there's ones for sale that I could go press buy it now for like $29,000 to $30,000. So
yeah, you can probably press buy it now, brother, but I don't know if that's what you're gonna get in the mail.
I mean, I think we might be like too far away on an even trade.
I feel like I know exactly what these cars are worth. I'm not gonna go out and tell you that your GT350 is worth $30,000, am I? Like that. Let's see how that would make you feel on the other end.
I just think we'd be too far away. I mean, I appreciate, like, it's definitely cool, and you could probably sell it at like a...
Okay. No, that's cool and all, but I mean, I'm not going to come over there and tell you what the price of your car is at. There's not a lot of fucking $30,000 fucking PSA 9 Magikarp cards out there either.
I'm not trying to upset you, brother. I just think we're too far away, man, and I'm not trying to insult your card.
There you go. Yeah, he got a little personal there at the end, but I just
employee of the month. I mean, for him to, I mean, what a
dude.
Dude.
He was trying. He's like, hey man, we're too far off on price, but we could try. If you got a guy who could give you $50K for that card,
55,
whatever it was, 55. We're about 5,000.
I know what I have, bro.
I know what I have.
I know what I have.
Unbelievable.
I might try to do this. Maybe if I can get a car.
I don't know where this guy's based out of. I'm kind of curious to be like, hey, what can we work out here? You know. So, anyway,
I know what I have.
What a time.
I mean,
we are in.
the guy used the phrase of all phrases. Like,
you know what I have.
I don't care about what you're saying right now. I know what I have. Yeah.
I love that he threw out the...
I like how it was just flat out. It was like $25,000 difference.
What if I came to your shop and told you I think your car's worth this, huh? Well, how would you feel? I love that. That's so funny.
Think that would be an appropriate part of our conversation. Is
If
what
you found a car that
think.
was worth the same amount, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it, a GT?
A Mustang GT350, brand new. Yeah.
55K.
Huh?
I would... You'd be like, okay, that car right there, you cannot get. But let me bring you to a section of our lot that you potentially could get a straight across.
We have some very nice $25,000 to $30,000 models that will fit your
20,000 miles on them.
Yeah. And then you could drive away with one of these cars.
Right. Look,
and I hate the fact that it's cars and cards.
I know it does make it a little...
I am sitting here going through my head, just like this is my nightmare.
To put this in perspective, and don't put this graphic on the screen yet, Cody. I want to see it. I don't know if you've seen this in our chat, Dan, but how many cards that were TC
cards,
not cars,
cards with the D?
How many in May, the month of May that just ended, 2025? How many cards in the TCG category did PSA grade in the month of May?
198,000.
So to put it in perspective, they graded 211,000 football cards, 189,000 baseball cards, and 126,000 basketball cards.
I'm off.
How many TCG cards did they grade in May?
Not 198,000?
No.
Okay. Wait. Okay. 421,000.
No, 1 million.
1 million.
1 million TCG cards.
Wait.
In the month of May.
1 million.
1 million.
They graded 1 million cars.
Cards. Pam and Pam.
I think the stat that blows my mind is if you combine all the other sports there, you are still 400,000 away.
Look, man.
From
and they're only
from
7% up, so they graded 930,000 cards in April.
Now,
flying lizards are hot. They're hot.
All of those are not Pokemon.
There's One Piece. There's Magic the Gathering. Right. It's TCG. Yes.
But I do want to see the breakdown of that. If they do have that available, the breakdown of the TCG. My guess is that's still like a 70% Pokemon breakdown.
They make so much more of that TCG, though.
They do.
Like just Pokemon alone. Like you can get a card that is worth grading out of a trainer box. Or just like one of the blister packs that has like
so much more in
there's so many more like
Yeah.
Where if you buy a Prism basketball blaster from Walmart or Target,
nothing grade worthy.
You're probably not going to get anything grade worthy.
No.
Where
but the flip side of this too is are we in a time, because there's so many people either coming back to Pokemon or new to Pokemon, where we're in a time similar to 2020, 2021 with sports where people were just like, I have to grade everything.
Well,
and I don't care what it is.
I don't think people are grading bulk. That's the term. That's the term in Pokemon, at least. They're grading the hollows or the
right.
Well, put that graphic back up
SIRs.
there.
Yeah.
What's also astounding is CGC's number on TCG.
They do really well in TCG.
So 393,000, up 26%. Beckett is down. Well, it looks like. Oh, no, they're up 100% in football. But SGC's down in all those categories. So is Beckett. I mean, Beckett graded, just put it in perspective, Beckett graded, is that 8,000, I'm assuming?
Okay.
8,000 football cards compared to 211,000 from PSA. That's crazy.
Okay. First off, you know how I feel about Beckett slabs. And you go back to that graphic real quick. You gotta give them their flowers when their flowers are due. Plus 250% in boxing glove. It looks like fighting
in
a fist.
Yeah,
It looks like dancing.
So you got to look at the numbers don't lie.
Right.
I mean
They have a stranglehold over the boxing market.
It's a 0.7% increase.
No, it's a 0.250% increase.
Well, but it's
that's in thousands, so they grade 700 of those.
700,000.
It was one guy. It was 700 cards. That was one guy's submission. That was one customer.
But they're sitting around the conference table right now, and they're like, plus 250% up.
They popped a champagne bottle. Cheers.
Is a good number. So
we did it.
They're probably going to do a lot of their focus on that going forward. Again, the boxing glove, the square dancing, and the
square dancing,
and the bare knuckle fighting,
and the bare knuckle. Actually maybe the slap. The slap fighting?
Slap fighting.
Oh, yeah,
I think that probably is in there. Yeah, power slap is probably part of that.
I was going to call it the slap chop, but it's something completely different.
Professional slap chop.
250. Well, they actually are up 100% in football, and they're up
100% in football.
Yeah, they did 8,000, so they must have done 4,000 the prior year. So.
Doing all right.
I love their slabs. I think they're on the uptick. I think if you were really to, I think they're going to be a big player soon again. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago. It really was not that long ago where they were the number one modern. For modern cards, you went nowhere else to get your cards graded than Beckett.
I mean, yeah. And back to Pokemon. I mean, the only concerning thing is this all sustainable, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at the booster boxes that are like, what, $200 and something dollars?
$250,
$230,
$280,
$210.
No, $250, $280.
I think
so. Let's just say it's
range.
$200, right? The best card you can pull out of there is like a $300 card.
Mm-hmm.
So
which has always blown my mind.
Right.
That like there's such a huge demand. And granted, I think you're going to open up a booster box and you're still going to get value. You're not going to get destroyed on value. But there isn't like super high end upside. You're not going to, like with sports cards, you could open up a box and pull a 6-figure card.
Yeah.
Almost out of every single release that comes out. With Pokemon, you're just looking for this $300 card. Blows my mind that there's like that many people that are ripping for that low of a ceiling on what you can hit.
Yes. That's that's what's, and then you see all the grading numbers, so you're going to see huge populations on some of these cards that have came out over the last 3 or 4 or 5 months. So.
But there definitely is a demand for it. There's not this is crazy to say. There's not enough product out there.
No, there isn't.
To supply the demand that people have for Pokemon.
And
now.
you know what? As much as it's not really about the money for the that's what one thing I love about their community is it's not entirely about the money. It's about the community. It's about building their collection for the game, or just saying they got that card, and it's not as much of a like I'm looking to get rich. I'm looking to build my collection, and I think that's very important to sustain, and obviously tournaments and things like that, which you can't have with sports cards and stuff as well. So. But huge weekend of Destined Rivals on the heels of Prismatic, on the heels of Journey Together. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's a big time. It's a big bubble for Pokemon right now.
It's crazy how huge it is. I think I put this in the notes. I think we're kind of at a crossroads here. I think we grew up where it's like if the cards that were passed down to us were baseball cards. They were old baseball cards, or like you caught the love of baseball cards, or whatever it might be, even football cards, whatever. Like that to me was like something I got like from my dad, and he passed that down. I don't think that's what this generation of parents and collectors is going to pass down as much as Pokemon now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's now the thing. Where Pokemon is unseeded baseball cards as the thing that.
What do you generally think the age demographic is right now? With Pokemon collectors, not the kids, right?
But like 30-someths, I would say.
30-something.
Who are coming to? I mean, I wasn't there on Saturday, but I've been to enough of these events to see it. Coming to these events, often with their kids,
bringing their kids,
and those kids are opening packs with them,
forcing little Billy to open up Pokemon.
They're like, "This is fun. I'm having a good time, and I'm building these memories with mom and dad." And I will always associate this with good, fun times and warm memories. And so when they get older, it's all
just the nostalgia comes
again.
back because, you had the '89 Upper Deck, you had you had the peak. It probably fizzled out 92, 93-ish, 94 maybe, and then this was '98. So you got 5 or 6 years later. So you have a demographic that's now old enough to afford this and have children and want them to have fun. So it's like building that nostalgia. So we'll probably have. 20 years from now, we'll have the guys that got in during the pandemic for sports cards with kids, when they were kids, and then you'll have the Pokemon guys 4 or 5 years later after that, too.
There's
it's just a
a lot of 30 and 35-year-olds that are basically going back and being like, the amount of Pokemon cards that I had that I ended up throwing away. Like,
yep.
I
had
the first generation. Well, the thing is that they did. Like, they had the first generation Charizards.
Yeah.
They had them because they were readily available.
I still have a bunch of that stuff from the first 2 sets that just is never going to grade well just because I didn't take...
See, and
I wasn't, like, throwing these cards around. Like, I put them in a binder with sleeves.
And that's almost the story our parents have, or our grandparents in this instance had with 50 mantles, right?
Yeah.
But our generation kept all the Dan cards, and the 80s aren't worth anything. So, but the Pokemon mantle era is almost like the 98, right? Because it was the first time it was
I
on
also
the scene.
think that with the Pokemon cards, there was the collectability mindset, but you would also bring your cards and they would travel with you to school.
Yes.
So you could show them off.
That's what it was.
So it was like, let me show you what I have. So like,
Yep.
we wouldn't do that with our baseball cards.
No.
They would go in a top loader.
We would do
and
it
then
Pogs, but not baseball cards.
Yeah, you would do it with Pogs, which I'm at some point. I mean, I'm ready. I bought a bunch of Pogs.
You're sitting on a gold mine.
I think the Pogs are going to come back. I think we're all going to be sitting there playing Pogs. I think we're going to be doing live breaks and playing Pogs.
Right.
Pogs, man.
We're almost there.
Bring it back.
We're really close.
Bring it back.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you guys there and get your Pogs ready. Use promo code Finals10 for 10% off basketball breaks this week at Mojobreak.com, and we'll see you guys next week on The Hype. Peace.